We gotta do what we gotta do. Oh, geez. Okay. I know these last couple weeks of summer are always just so like, for so many of us, I feel like even if there isn't any like school stuff going on, I think that energy is just in the air where there's that like, yeah, we know this is the time of transition. Like I crunched through a bunch of leaves the other day on a little walk and I was like, oh my God, like I love this and I'm also like not ready for this. So I don't know. I think we're just going to kind of take it slow and easy today, as always. It's kind of the intention. But we're going to begin. First of all, you can start your music if you want to use your music. And we're going to begin in legs up the wall. And if you have a wall space to put your legs up, that's great. If you don't have a wall space to put your legs up, you can take the back of a chair. You can just send your feet up towards the ceiling. Like, there's really no wrong way to do this. I am going to be using, or at least I'll, for a minute, I'm not going to do it for the whole time, but I'm just going to set up a bolster in the middle of my mat. And then I'm just going to take my pelvis on the bolster and send my feet up. All right. And that might require like just a little bit of effort on your part to hold your legs up in the air, but we're looking for just a bit of an inversion this morning to begin with, a little gentle inversion. Yeah, awesome. Good. Yeah, it's so good to see all your faces and really all your legs and feet right now. That's what's really going on. Good. All right, here we are, Sunday morning, late summer. And I read a poem this morning that really just resonated with me, and I wanted to read it to you. It's a David White poem. Love David White. He just has the words for the things that are hard to give words to, I think. So this one is called Everything is Waiting for You. Your great mistake is to act the drama as if you were alone, as if life were a progressive and cunning crime with no witness to the tiny hidden transgressions. To feel abandoned is to deny the intimacy of your surroundings. Surely, even you at times have felt the grand array, the swelling presence and the chorus crowding out your solo voice. You must note the way the soap dish enables you, or the window latch grants you freedom. Alertness is the hidden discipline of familiarity. The stairs are your mentor of things to come. The doors have always been there to frighten you and invite you. And the tiny speaker in the phone is your dream ladder to divinity. Put down the weight of your aloneness and ease into the conversation. The kettle is singing even as it pours you a drink. The cooking pots have left their arrogant aloofness and seen the good in you at last. All the birds and creatures of the world are unutterably themselves. Everything is waiting for you. So just for a couple more minutes, holding your body in this legs up kind of shape, but also just sort of taking in the room around you, allowing yourself to be part of your environment. Noticing the sounds that surround you and the textures that surround you. And taking your time to take deep breaths. These deep breaths sort of floating you and settling you down. Those deep breaths, your anchor through your practice, keeping you here with yourself. Good, and maybe just a few more breaths here with your legs up, if they are up. Yeah, and when you feel ready, you can set your feet down to the floor, and it might be nice to keep your hips up on the thing that they're on so you can take a restorative kind of bridge pose. Your knees could stay bent, or you might decide to extend one or both of your legs out long. Okay, so that's option one. And then option two is to take like an actual bridge pose where you press down into the feet, you lift up the hips. Yeah, if you've got some energy that you want to use, if you want to cultivate that sense of strength, then yeah, that bridge pose is a nice way to do it. This morning, we're going to be focusing in on our kidney and urinary bladder meridians and also our heart meridian a little bit. If you're taking that active bridge pose, you're really activating your urinary bladder meridian, which runs all along the back side of your body. Right? And then the kidney meridian, which is at the front of your body. And if you're tucking your arms underneath you, you're also getting into your heart meridian, which goes down your arms and into your wrists and hands. Good. So maybe just a few more breaths here, 10 or so with your bridge, whatever bridge you've chosen. Maybe it's your easygoing swinging rope bridge, or maybe it's something a little bit more structured. Good. Awesome. Good, and then if you are in your active bridge pose, begin to set yourself down on the floor, removing whatever's underneath you. If you're in that restorative variation, yeah, just take your prop away, bring your pelvis down to the floor, and let's draw the knees in to either frame the chest or come towards the center of the chest, whichever works in your hips the best. If you want to turn this into a happy baby, you might do that here. Good, and you could add on a little bit more kidney meridian action and urinary bladder meridian action by straightening one leg and then the other leg in happy baby. Yeah, but just know that if you want to just curl up in a ball, that goes a long way too. Nice. And do your best to notice how your lower back feels against the floor. The way that your shoulders are responding to this. And then by extension, your jaw, right? Is it clenching? Are your eyes feeling intense? So our urinary bladder meridian points begin at the inner corner of the eye. That's point one. And then point number two is at the inner corner of your eyebrow. So just take a moment to rest those places in you. And allow your tongue to become a bit softer. Your ears to soften. What does it feel like to soften a little bit? Okay, and then just connect the sole of your right foot down to the floor and grab a hold of your strap. And we're gonna take the strap around the bottom of the left foot. You could continue to keep that right foot on the floor, or if you want to send the leg out long for a little bit more of like a hip flexor opening on the right side, yeah, go for it. Good, and then you get to choose what to do here with your foot up in the strap. Maybe you want to be really still, or maybe you want to swing that leg really slowly and mindfully from side to side, take a big sweep. Good. Perhaps you want to stay in the center and pick up your head and shoulders and draw your forehead towards your knee. There really is no wrong way to do this. This is just time for some exploration. And then we'll spend the next like 2 minutes or so exploring the back of that left leg. Good. Maybe the inner and outer part of the leg. Noticing your hip. Perfection. Good. About 5 more deep breaths here. Great. And then when you feel good and done with the back of the leg, we're gonna either take a sleeping tree pose with the left foot to the inside line of that right leg, or maybe even tucked underneath. Or if you're feeling like exploring something like a half lotus this morning, where you take your left foot and place it kind of up near your right hip crease, you're welcome to go there too. And it might mean that you're taking your bolster, your block, and placing it underneath that left thigh. Good. And then your arms can just do whatever they want to do here so that your shoulders are comfortable. If you want a little bit of extra heart meridian action, you might extend your arms out past your head and really like give them a good reach, or out to the sides perhaps. Good. Let's take maybe 15 deep breaths here. And just as you notice the sounds in the room around you and the textures that your body was coming into contact with, just acknowledging your surroundings, now do what you can to notice what's going on internally. Does your internal landscape feel a little jagged this morning? A little jangly, or do things feel pretty smooth and easygoing? Good. A deep breath in here. And a big breath out. Right, and then just begin to unhook that left foot from the right leg. Let's take the soles of both of the feet to the floor and scoot the hips over to the left and drop your knees on over to the right. We'll take this supine twist. Good, taking a moment here in your supine twist to just kind of situate yourself so that everything feels mostly comfortable or like a good place to stay at least. Sometimes a little bit of discomfort can be, you know, a good place to stay too. Good. I'm thinking of about 2 more minutes here in your supine twist. And if you need a little bit of extra grounding and self-soothing today, it might be nice to fold your elbows and place your hands on your own body. Just feel your own breath moving. Good, everyone. Another 5 breaths or so. Good, and for these last couple breaths, you might want to like creatively arrange those arms and take like a big morning stretch of sorts, if that makes sense. Your arms could be doing 2 totally different things, that's fine. Maybe you want to think about turning the wrists a little bit and feeling what the shoulders are feeling as you pronate, supinate those hands. Good, and then we're gonna roll over onto our bellies. So just extend that right leg long behind you. You're gonna keep your left knee bent. And we're gonna come into this half frog sphinx variation. Good, and as you find your half frog sphinx, notice what the lower back feels like. If there's a whole lot of protest, you can just settle yourself back down onto your chest. Take your easygoing half frog. Good. But if it feels all right, it might be nice to stick around for a moment up here. And I've been really enjoying this gentle, like rocking forward and backward motion. So I have my hands clasped and I'm pressing my elbows like forward and backward. And it's kind of massaging my right hip point a little bit. Good. Maybe you do that and it doesn't feel good. Who knows? Maybe you want to be still here. That's fine too. And dropping the head down could be lovely. You're relieving a little bit of tension through the upper back and neck. Nice. Why don't we take another 5 deep breaths here? And if extending that left leg out long feels like a positive addition to this pose, yeah, maybe go there for a moment. And as you bring that left leg out long, you might consider kind of turning the foot so that the sole of the foot looks down at the floor and you're kind of picking up the inner ankle. Again, just a thought. Definitely not a requirement of any sort. But how does that change things? Good, another big breath. Okay, and then let's refold that knee. Send the left leg nice and long behind you. And just for a couple breaths, let's walk the elbows over to the right and find a nice opening through the front of that left hip. Good. One more big inhale and exhale. Okay, and then bring yourself back through to the center. And we're gonna stay up in this Sphinx pose and just take the right knee on over to the right. I'm gonna kind of play this whole thing in reverse and roll around in a really big circle this morning. Good, so finding your half frog pose here, keeping yourself lifted if it works, and settling down if your lower back needs a break. It's totally fine. Good, and yeah, maybe you're dropping the head down here and giving it a little sway, or maybe you're taking that subtle like back and forth rocking motion to massage the front of the left hip a touch. And you notice if you need stillness or if movement is serving you. Good, and for 5 breaths or so, it might be nice to extend your right leg on over to the right, straightening out, and perhaps even turning the sole of your right foot down to the floor here. Nice. Good, 2 more breaths. Yeah, good. And why don't we just take that right leg nice and long behind and walk our elbows on over to the left for a moment or two. And Sphinx pose is one of the best poses for both the kidney and the urinary bladder meridians. Good. So just taking a moment here to really appreciate how this feels in your body. Perfect. And come on back through to the center. We're going to take that right knee back out to the side and then just roll on over so that you end up in your twist with your knees dropping over to the left. Good. Getting there and arranging your arms in a way that feels like the most appropriate, arm arrangement for this morning, either taking your hands onto your own body, or maybe it's this big, wide open stretch. Good. Every now and then I like to take my right hand to my lower back in this shape to just help support a little bit. So taking time to settle in, about 3 minutes or so here. Good. Check in with yourself and notice if you want a little shift of the arms or the knees or the hips. About halfway through. Perfect. Just another 5 breaths or so. Maybe taking your morning stretch situation from here, really reaching those arms out in whatever direction they feel drawn. Perfect. All right, and come on back through to the center on your back. And as you get there, you can keep the sole of that left foot plugged in. We're gonna send the right foot up towards the ceiling and maybe wrap the strap around the bottom of your foot, or maybe you just wanna clasp the back of the leg, rotate the ankle. Yeah. And a couple of minutes worth of some kind of movement here if movement is what you need. Okay, maybe you want to like activate the belly muscles and you're moving that leg up and down, you know. Maybe you want to take the leg side to side. Maybe you want to take some circles and just feel the hip. Or, you know, some stillness. What works for you? I love all the kitty cat action I'm seeing. So nice. Good, just another couple breaths. Good, and then let's go ahead and we'll set that right foot back down. Take the feet just about mat distance here, and let's take our hands onto maybe like our lower rib cage, and we're gonna shift the knees from side to side and just kind of rub the middle of your belly. Right, rub along those lower ribs. See if you can spread your fingers out really wide and just cover a whole bunch of surface area here of your skin. Good, taking just a little bit of time for this really sweet little belly rub. Good, again, moving into the kidney meridian a little bit here. Pulling and squeezing the urinary bladder meridian lines of the back body. Right, and then let's take some time to come into it. Oh, what am I doing? Oh my God, a bound angle, a reclined bound angle. Oh, sometimes the words escape me. And as you come into your reclined bound angle with the soles of the feet together and the knees out wide, take, oh, I forgot sleeping tree on one side. That's okay. We'll be fine. Let's just take this pose for now. And you might keep your arms out wide and to the sides, or your hands could be on your belly. Or another thought is to kind of take these like relaxed dad arms, you know, your hands back behind your head and your elbows out wide. Every time I see this arm position, I just think of like, you know, some guy with his feet up, maybe reading the paper, having a martini or something. Good, and just breathing deeply into the bends of the knees and the elbows. Sending your breath out as far as it can go. And take notice of how your belly feels. Is it moving freely, or does it feel a little clenched today? Good, and as you settle in for another 2 minutes or so, could be nice to check back in again with yourself. And this self check-in is always kind of funny, right? Because sometimes when we check in, things are like really weird. And the self check-in is less about like making sure everything is good and more about just befriending whatever's there. And even if it's hard, or, you know, even if it's not ideal, taking time just to breathe and accept and feel. And allowing ourselves to be permeable to reality. Good. A few more deep breaths here. Good, and then from here, let's just pick up the shoulders and scoot them over to the left. Maybe keeping those arms with your hands behind your head. And then another thought here is to just gently scoot the feet over to the left. So that left knee is going to be up and that right knee is going to kind of be pointing away. And you're looking for a little bit of an opening through the top of that right thigh. Now, if that feels all kinds of like awkward and not like a good thing, you're always welcome to extend that left leg out nice and long and place the back of the left thigh on top of the right foot. And if even that is just like, nope, how about a banana pose? Extending both of your legs out long. Good. And your arms can just arrange themselves however they need to be arranged so that you're feeling a little something through the right side of the body. Good. So just taking your time, easing into something that, you know, maybe isn't the most comfortable thing. But staying with it and breathing. What parts of you are feeling a little clamped down? What parts of you are feeling free here? Why don't we take another 10 deep breaths over to the side, over to the left, making some space on the right side of your body. The right side of your body representing yang, or this power of, this energy of activation and power. This is our sun side. This is doing. And this is achieving. All of those things that require our motivation, our energy. Our internal fire. And one more breath or two. Okay, and then just come on out of this. Set both of your feet back down on the mat, knees pointing up. Shift your upper body back to the center. And it might be time, another nice time for some knees rocking side to side. Maybe you want to stretch your arms out past your head as you do that, and notice what's happening in your underarms as you drop your knees from side to side. Good. Maybe you want to cross your arms over your chest as you drop your knees from side to side, kind of sealing up the heart space a little bit. And this act of like protection. Good. But eventually we'll come back through to the center, place the soles of the feet together, and we'll take the hands back behind the head if that worked for you before. And then let's just scoot the upper body over to the right, and then gently walk those heels on over to the right as well. And this might end up with you pointing your right knee up as that left knee kind of drops over to the side. Maybe you're taking your sleeping tree with your right thigh on the top of your left inner ankle. Or even banana pose, extending both legs long and scooting your heels over to the right. Good. Your deepest breaths here, whatever you can muster today. Good. And another 5 breaths or so here. Good. One more deep inhale and a big, big exhale. Great. And then let's make our way back through to the center. And let's pull the knees in towards the chest one more time here. Again, this could be your happy baby, or if you're feeling like something kind of like a snail pose, there are a few options for you. So you could take a block under your pelvis and then drop your knees in towards your chest and your toes out past your head to get a nice intense stretch of the back plane of the body. Also, you might consider taking something like a plow pose, lifting the hips and dropping those toes out past the head. And this can be really soft. It doesn't have to be super engaged. Good. Great. Whatever it takes to get that nice little stretch through the back of the body here. Give those kidneys a little bit of space. Good. Just a couple more breaths like this. Great. And then from here, we're going to make our way up into a standing forward fold. We're actually going to stand on our feet today. So just kind of go in your own way. You might rock along the length of your spine. You might decide to just like roll over and sip your tea and stand up and fold forward. Good. And I'd like to invite you to also maybe use your blanket in your standing forward fold. Like rolling up your blanket maybe once or twice and stepping the ball mounds of the feet onto the blanket so that you get a nice little stretch through the soles of the feet. And then the head drops down, just let it go. And just let yourself be here. I'm thinking of a few moments in there, minutes, not moments. What is a moment anyway? I don't know. A few minutes in this pose. And again, just take notice. Maybe a little bit of movement is what your body is craving this morning. It's what you need energetically. Maybe you're swinging the upper body really slowly, gently from side to side. Or yeah, I see some twisting action going on too. One hand down, the other hand up. Yeah. You might tug at the hair at the top of your head, or interlace your fingers behind your back and stretch your shoulders. Also a really nice activation for your heart meridian with standing yoga mudra. But wherever you are, soften the inner corners of your eyes. Soften your brow. See if you can loosen your jaw a little bit. Yeah, and if you're feeling so inclined, you might even take the heels of your hands to your low mid back here and kind of press into that tender place where your kidneys and your adrenal glands are housed. Maybe giving yourself a little bit of a massage back there. Good, another 5 deep breaths. Good, and then from here, we're gonna keep our left foot forward. And we're gonna step the right foot back just enough, right? Just enough so that your heel connects easily with your right toes pointing forward. And your hands could be up on something, maybe a bolster, a rolled up blanket, or a block. Coming into your pyramid pose. Let's hang on to this for like a minute and a half, I think, on this side. In a short but not too short amount of time. 10 breaths or so. Yeah, let your head drop way down. Good, and then from here, just walk your hands around to the right. We're gonna come into a straddle, or this wide angle. Might be nice to have your block here. You might shift your hips a little bit from side to side for a moment. And maybe even bend one knee and then the other knee, just to kind of feel the legs and feel the feet on the floor. Eventually, if it feels like the right thing to do, find some stillness in the center and really let the head drop down. Good, and then just take a little bit of time to lift yourself up halfway and then all the way. And there are a couple of options here. Oh, let me adjust my camera. All right, so you can choose to stand with your feet out nice and wide like this, or you could bring the feet together in mountain pose. Or another option, which is definitely not yin at all, is this kind of like goddess horse pose. Yeah, not yin, but maybe it feels good, who knows. And then let's eagle wrap those arms or hug around. Give yourself a nice little squeeze here. Really feel your feet on the floor. Just a couple breaths with your arms wrapped on one side. Good, and then open those arms up nice and wide. Big stretch across the collarbones. We'll just take the other side. Good, feel the strength in your legs. Feel the lower ribs lifting. Collarbones broadening even with this arm variation. Yeah, and then go ahead and release. Let it all go. Fold yourself forward again. And drop your head down, give it a little shake. Soften those eyes again. And then we'll walk our hands around so that they are framing, I think, the right foot. I think that's where we're going with the pyramid next. So just do the other side. You take a moment to set yourself up so that you can really feel that back heel pressing down into the floor and that front big toe pressing down and forward. Good, head drops down and chest closes in on that front thigh. Good, a deep breath in here, and a deep breath out. And you might choose to step back into a downward facing dog for a couple breaths. Good, and we're gonna make our way into a child's pose or a puppy pose if you're feeling a little bit more like heart oriented. And if you've curled up in your child's pose with your hips back towards your heels, just take notice of how the shoulders are feeling, how the hips are feeling. Good. Taking a few deep breaths here. Your forehead heavy towards the floor. Getting back in touch with what's going on internally. Good. And I wanted to allow us a really good amount of time for a final pose. Something restorative maybe. So yeah, maybe you want your Shavasana and you just want to make contact with the floor. And maybe you need a little bit more time with legs up the wall or reclined bound angle, or perhaps like a rolled up blanket underneath the length of your spine for a restorative fish pose. Maybe you want to stand on your head for a couple minutes. I don't know. That's always an option too. The beauty of your practice is that it is yours, right? And that there is no need to do things that, that don't really work for you, right? And conversely, you can do the things that you need to do. Take your time. Get yourself settled in. And I just want to read that David White piece one more time for you because it's just, I think, really beautiful. Everything is waiting for you. Your great mistake is to act the drama as if you were alone, as if life were a progressive and cunning crime with no witness to the tiny hidden transgressions. To feel abandoned is to deny the intimacy of your surroundings. Surely even you at times have felt the grand array, the swelling presence, and the chorus crowding out your solo voice. You must note the way the soap dish enables you, or the window latch grants you freedom. Alertness is the hidden discipline of familiarity. The stairs are your mentor of things to come. The doors have always been there to frighten you and invite you. And the tiny speaker in the phone is your dream ladder to divinity. Put down the weight of your aloneness and ease into the conversation. The kettle is singing even as it pours you a drink. The cooking pots have left their arrogant aloofness and seen the good in you at last. All the birds and creatures of the world are unutterably themselves. Everything is waiting for you. Ooh. And tapping into you, yourself. And all of the gifts and treasures that are within you. Some of those gifts and treasures maybe even seemingly a little bit difficult on the surface, right? So how can you serve? What is needed? And so acknowledging the internal and now moving back out into the room where you are, the space where you are, wherever you are. Who and what is around you. What does it smell like where you are? What do you hear? And then extend your awareness a little bit further out now into the world beyond your four walls or your house. Good. Taking a moment to remember this outside world and your place in it. And all the gifts and treasures that you bring to it. And when you feel ready to move, do that thing. Give yourself a wiggle. Pull the knees to the chest. You know, anything that works for you. Maybe you want to take another big morning stretch. But eventually we'll all end up in a seated kind of position. Maybe sitting up tall. Yeah. And if you want to turn on your camera and look at everybody, you're welcome to. If you want to turn on your mic and say hi, you're welcome to. Yeah, just thought it would be nice for us to see each other's faces if you're comfortable doing that. So, hi everybody. I hope you all have a really super fantastic day and week ahead. Oh, it's going to be a big one for some of us, I hear. So, anyway, just wanted to wish you all the best. And why don't we close our practice by bringing our hands onto our heart and broadening across the collarbones and really like picking our heart up a little bit here. Sometimes we have to do that for ourselves. And then let's drop the head down, honoring this time we spent practicing and honoring each other too. Namaste.